There are some dates that arrive quietly, and there are dates that begin to haunt the edges of a conversation long before they ever arrive. 2027 is one of those dates. In the world of UFOs, UAP, intelligence leaks, anomalous sources, whispers from former officials, and speculation dressed as prophecy, that year keeps coming back again and again. In podcasts, in private conversations, in disclosure circles, in the uneasy language of people who say they know more than they can prove. A date tied to warnings, a date tied to preparation, a date tied to one chilling idea that humanity may be living on borrowed time. But is that true? Did someone in the intelligence world really say it? Did the CIA ever document it? Or has 2027 become something even more dangerous than a secret? A myth. A story powerful enough to survive without evidence. Tonight, we go into the fog. I'm Matt Tones, and this is UFO to UAP, the Disclosure Report. Our episode today is called 2027, Deadline or Disinformation. Tonight, we step into one of the most talked about and least verified claims in the modern disclosure era. A date, 2027. Across podcasts, fringe forums, disclosure circles, and whispers tied to the intelligence community, as one idea keeps surfacing, that humanity is running out of time, that something is coming, and that people inside the government already know it. But where did that claim actually come from? Did CIA archives ever say it? Did whistleblowers formally confirm it? Or has 2027 become something else entirely? A modern UFO myth built from rumor, repetition, and the psychology of secrecy. Tonight, we separate signal from noise. Segment 1, I'm calling this the date that wouldn't go away. If you spend enough time in the UAP space, you eventually run into the same claim, that 2027 is a turning point. Depending on who is repeating it, that can mean open contact, disclosure, an arrival, a reveal, or a global shift in awareness. The wording changes, the emotional effect does not. It creates urgency, it implies a countdown, and it frames the present moment as preparation. But when you trace the public record carefully, the 2027 narrative does not appear to come from a broad body of confirmed intelligence disclosures. Instead, it seems to cluster around a small number of public personalities, with former CIA officer John Ramirez, I do apologize if I pronounce that wrong, becoming one of the most widely cited names connected to the date. That distinction matters because there is a major difference between an official finding, a declassified document, a sworn public statement, and a post-retirement interview claim. In the world of UAP disclosure, those categories often get blurred together. Tonight, we're going to unblur them. What John Ramirez actually said. John Ramirez is a former CIA officer who has appeared publicly in interviews and podcasts discussing UFOs, UAP, human origins, intelligence culture, and the possibility of a non-human presence. The quote most often tied to this story is his claim that people in the government were aware of something happening and that they're showing up in 2027. Language reported by Sci-Fi in coverage of his public remarks. In the same reporting, Ramirez is described as saying he had heard 2027 in kind of an official capacity that he could not reveal. And that is a crucial point. Ramirez did not publicly present a declassified CIA file providing or proving a 2027 event. He did not cite a released document. He did not identify a source office, briefing memo, program name, or archival record that could be independently verified in public. So, what category does his statement belong in? Based on the public record, it lands somewhere between insider hearsay, personal interpretation, and unverified secondhand assertion. That does not automatically make it false, but it absolutely means it is not the same thing as evidence. Did the CIA ever say this? And this is where the story starts to thin out. Because if the claims were rooted in the CIA's own declassified archival history, we would expect to find some trace of it in one of two places. First, in the agency's own public historical summaries on UFOs. Second, somewhere in the CIA reading room collections. What do those sources actually show? The CIA's historical piece, the CIA's role in the study of UFOs 1947 to 1990, describes the agency's involvement in UFO reporting as a Cold War intelligence and national security issue. It focuses on aerial sightings, Soviet concerns, public reaction, and analytical handling of reports. It does not present a future deadline, an arrival date, or a warning that humanity is on borrowed time. The CIA's public UFOs Facts or Fiction reading room collection similarly points back to historical UFO materials, but nothing in the surfaced archival material supports a documented CIA conclusion that 2027 is a known intelligence milestone. That means one of the strongest public myths surrounding the 2027 narrative that is somehow comes out of declassified CIA records is at least from the public archival material available unsupported. So why do people believe it? Because secrecy is a story engine, and UFO history has always rewarded mystery. And when official institutions conceal some things, deny others, and leave genuine anomalies unresolved, people start building connective tissues between fragments. A date like 2027 becomes powerful because it gives shape to uncertainty. It answers a hunger for timing, not just what is happening, but when. And once a date enters the ecosystem, it spreads fast because every vague statement starts orbiting it. A podcast guest hints at limited time. An intelligence adjacent voice mentions preparation. A formal official says people in the government have heard something. A community repeats it enough times, that rumor begins to feel like consensus. That's how narrative hardens, not through proof, through repetition. So, what official channels say now? The current official public position from the US government does not support a 2027 contact deadline. The Pentagon's All Domain Anomaly Research Office, or AARO, says on its public FAQ that it has found no evidence of extraterrestrial technology in the cases that it has reviewed. Its historical reporting also states that earlier official investigations did not find evidence that examined cases involved extraterrestrial craft, even though some incidents remain unresolved. That does not settle every question, of course. It does not explain every sighting. It does not erase every witness. And it certainly does not end the public debate. But it does mean that when people say the government knows 2027 is the year, that claim is not reflected in the official public record now available. This is where we step into the whistleblower problem. Another reason the 2027 story persists is because the public often collapses all UAP voices into one category, whistleblowers. But not all public figures in the space are saying the same thing. The 2023 House UAP hearing, for example, featured testimony from David Grush, Ryan Graves, and David Fravor. That hearing focused on oversight, reporting systems, national security, pilot safety, and allegations of hidden programs. It did not establish a public timeline pointing to 2027. That matters because a rumor gains power when it borrows credibility from unrelated names. Someone hears intelligence community, someone else hears whistleblower. Then suddenly the public memory becomes many whistleblowers have confirmed 2027. But that is not what the documented public record currently shows. Deadline or disinformation? So, where does that leave us? Three possibilities stand out. One, Ramirez, I'm so sorry, I'm having a terrible time pronouncing this. Ramirez heard something real but incomplete. A rumor, a briefing fragment, a speculative internal conversation that was never formal policy or verified intelligence. Two, the 2027 story is a classic case of disclosure folklore, an emotionally powerful date that spread because it fit the mood of the times. And three, the date itself may be functioning as a kind of narrative magnet, drawing attention away from a more important reality that the real UAP story is not about 1 year on the calendar, but about a long, uneven struggle between secrecy, stigma, disclosure, and public trust. And there is a fourth possibility too. The dates like 2027 survive because they serve everyone. They give believers urgency. They give skeptics a target. They give content creators a hook. And they give the mystery a clock. So, is humanity on borrowed time? There is no public CIA archival evidence I found that says so. There is no official public US government statement establishing 2027 as a disclosure deadline. And John Ramirez remarks as publicly available appear to be insider style claims and personal interpretation, not a documented CIA confirmation. But the fact this story keeps returning tells us something important, not necessarily about aliens, not necessarily about intelligence agencies, but about us and how we respond to secrecy and how we build myths in the gaps between documents and about how, in the absence of certainty, a single date can begin to feel like a prophecy. Maybe 2027 turns out to be nothing. Maybe it becomes another failed prediction added to the long archive of ufology. Or maybe history will look back and say the signal was there all along, buried under noise, misdirection, and disbelief. For now, the honest conclusion is this: 2027 is a claim, not a confirmed fact. And in this field, that distinction is everything. I'm Matt Tones, and this has been UFO to UAP, the Disclosure Report.